Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Happy Friday. Today I'm going to continue on my Mike Lane sponsored build. I'm building the Porsche 911 Carrera. Once again, look how thick this book is. Pretty cool, isn't it? Now, obviously, in the first part, I did the bonnet, looking like this. And I also did some parts for the steering. And we created our first brake discs and shock there with the wheel, as you can see here. We're going to be continuing on that today. Just so you know that I'm doing this build slightly different. What I'm doing is I'm giving myself 1 hour to see what I can do in an hour slots, and then that is what eventually will get posted up. Now today I believe we're going to be starting on part 4, stage 4, which is actually on this build in pack 6. You see, pack 6 contains parts 4 to 17, so it's going to be in here. We're going to see how far we get on that. Now, if you want to get this for yourself, this is available through Mike Lane Mods, and I have put a link in the video description, and there's also that QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, a couple of things to show you since last time. Mrs. Welder Wayne has now put all the screws in a box for me, so that's all good. The other thing is that if we look at the instructions here, and I did fold this down last time, that's why there's a big fold line on here, so I know where I got to. This is what we're going to be doing in stage 4. Basically, we've got this section here. We're going to put these linkages into place like this and putting this onto that section there. So that's how that's looking. Quite a big stage to be looking at it. We're actually going to be installing what we created in the last pack, and then there you go. That's how it's going to look. So it is morning here. The time is 8:32, so I am going to see what I can get done by 9:30. So in those boxes there, when you open them up, as you can see, I've got this part here. You're just going to have to identify what these parts are by what the parts in the book are, because there's nothing on here that says this is stage 4. This definitely is stage 4 though. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be putting these linkages together here. And that's just a case of taking these two parts and putting these together like this. Now I'm holding them together with a DM screw. So once again, I do have to thank Mrs. Welder Wayne for sorting this out for me. So we've got one just going in here. I have put oil on this because this is going into metal. I'll do the same on this one. We want to bring over this, what looks like a sway bar here. And I'm going to be putting these into place. Now they're actually going to be going on this way. So the larger section's going to go on here, probably best on the top camera. Let me just line that up. And this one's going to be going in that way, just like that. So I'm holding these in with CP screws. These are flange screws. So one there. It's much easier having the screws in a screw pot, I have to say. Much easier. And this one's going in this side. All we're going to do then is we're going to be bringing over this section here. Okay, we do have locating lugs on these, so we want the lug to be towards the bottom, so then when we put this in like this, I can hold this in with AM screws. Need 2 of these. So one there and one there. I then want to take this part that we created in the last pack, and we've got 2 lugs here which are going to go into the holes that we can see just there. So it's just a case of lining those up and pushing that down into place. There you go. That's held from the other side with CM screws. Now these ones, there's so many CM screws that I kept them in the bag on account that my tray had 28 slots, but I've got 31 screws. Actually, I've got 33 screws, I think. For my other builds, I did manage to find a container which has got 64 slots on it. So that's what I'm using now. Okay, that's good. Now in pack 3, or stage 3, we had these brackets. I need those now. These are actually going to be going in here just like this. We want to put the bottom through the hole there so that this can sit quite low down in here. We want it to go into that trench just there. And then I'm holding it in by putting this bracket over the top. And that's going to be held in with BM screws. Again, this was one of my sacrifices because I've kept these ones in the bag too. So we've got 3 screws to put in here. And then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. And again, 3 BM screws. I am using my PH1 screwdriver here. These are quite big chunky screws, so I can use that. Okay, now they're in, what I want to do is with these drop links here, I'm going to want to put these into position into the trenches just there. So one this side and do the same on the other side here. This one's going in here. And now to keep those into place, I'm using DM screws. And they're actually going to be going in from this direction. And I have put these in oil again to help me get all of these all the way through. So one there. Now very important with these, when you actually put metal screws through holes like this, ensure that they're in square and that they're going to come out of the other side square as well. Otherwise all that's going to happen is you're going to bend that metal on the other side, which you don't want to do. So when you feel it getting tight, just go slower to ensure that you're not bending this metal here. But there you go, that's perfect. So that's those drop links in place. That's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, so stage 5, we have got the front wings and shock absorbers now. These are metal in here. And look, they do have a number on there. Look, number 5. I don't think the last one did. So I can identify what this is. And I am careful here because we've got 2 little washers there. So bringing this over, and I want it this way round, just like this. I'm going to be putting these into place. So if you have a look at the bottom, we've got a keyhole pattern, which is going to go over the keyhole pattern just there. So this one's going to be going in here like that. And then this one is going to go on the other side, just like that. I'm going to hold them in with CM screws. So one there. We're certainly getting to the very big building stage of this straight away. Normally it's grills and, you know, other things, but it's very rare to start these sort of stages now. Okay, let's turn this over now because I'm going to be putting the first wheel into place. So what I'm going to do is put this part of the shock, or the bottom of the shock here, into this position just here. That's going to be held in with a BM screw. Quite fiddly to get that one in there. But I've managed it. Now the other side here is eventually going to be going onto the steering just like that. I've hooked it over at the moment, but you can see how that's going to work. It doesn't want me to screw that in yet. I'm going to be putting the hub carrier on the other side, so it's exactly the same thing just on here with a BM screw. So I've got that lined up there. And a BM screw to hold that nice and tight. And then once again, I will put this onto the steering here, even though we're not putting it in place. So now you can see how that's going to work. Excellent. All I need now is 2 CM screws, and I'm going to use the washers that come in this stage because I'm going to be putting a washer over the top of this, turning this over because I'm going to be putting the suspension into the struts at the top here. Hopefully you can see that, and get the CM screw in here. And again, I have put oil in this, so that's going to go nice and easy. Now that hub carrier suspension is in there tight now. You can do the same on the other side. So put the shock into the strut mount there, washer, screw. Okay, now at the bottom, you remember this steering linkage that I said I put in but I haven't screwed in now? We're about to screw that in. We do that with EM screws. These are flange screws. So one there. And one just there. Now, looking at this side, if you look down here, you'll see some holes. They are for these brake lines here. Now in the instructions, they've got these brake lines going above this section. I want to do it so they can come out from the other side, and they're being a little bit difficult. So what I'm going to do for here is I've got these jewelry pins. These are easily bendable. I'm going to be putting these down the end here. Just like that, which is going to make that rigid and enable me easy to push that through there, as you can see. So do the same on the other side. I'll put a pin all the way down here. It's going to help me thread. If I want to take this out again afterwards, I can. Just like that. So there you go. I've got both of those coming out there. And that's all there is to do in that stage. Pack 6. You can see that here. Got the number 6 on it. Let's get that open. We have got the battery box. So, I'm going to take the battery box first. Just checking the terminals. They look okay. This is going to be going in this way, just like this, over the top with the connector to my left. It's going to be held in with BM screws. So on this side, again, plastic box with going into metal. Don't over tighten them or you're going to break that plastic. Now you see we've got the switch here now. Once again, I'm just going to straighten all these leads out. Hold this part here because I don't want to put any pressure on the connections. Just to get any tangles out that we've got here. And as you can see, we've got 2 leads coming off of this. And basically I'm going to want to put the switch in this way. So it's actually going to be going into the position just there, like that. It's going to be held in with FM screws. And I need 2 of these. So one there and one at the other side. Now the lead that's coming off the right peg here is going to go over to the battery box. So we're going to be plugging these 2 together. Which means the lead from the middle here, which is this one, isn't going anywhere at the moment. What we are going to do though is we're going to trace these round. So we've got a bit of wire tidy going on. So, bear with me a second. If we have them both coming off over here, you'll see we've got a clip or a place for a clip at the top. That's where I'm actually routing these through. I've got the clip here. You know what, this is a thing no one talks about as well, how fiddly it is to put clips in. I always find it best to put the screw in first. Just hold that on my screwdriver while I just set this up. And then being ever so gentle, put that into place like that. I haven't found an easier way to do that yet. But that is all into position there. Looking good. Turn this over, and obviously we want to hide where we're going to put the batteries. I'm not going to put any batteries in at the moment, but this is great. This is the battery cover case. Look at that. And it's just a case of slotting that in there and then clipping that into place in here. Like that. That's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, in stage 7, we're going to be doing another one of the wheels, which means, I'm guessing, it's going to eat into my hour. I'm going to need to get some boiling water to soften this up, so bear with me. So I've got my hot water again, putting it on the mat because I don't want to destroy my mat here, and I'm just going to drop that. I say hot water, that's boiling water I've got there. So I'm going to leave it to soak for around about 30 seconds. Okay, I think 30 seconds has passed. Let me just get this out. Leave that on the mat. Move this to one side. I'm going to tap off any water I've got on there. That's good. We're going to put this together. So we put one side in here. Perfect. Turn it over. Line up the other side. You can see that on the top camera there. That's good. Hold them together with BM screws. So 3 of these to go in. I don't think did I use hot water on the first wheel? I don't know. It's not going to hurt it. Just means I'm not fighting with the tyre here. Just looking at the time, it's 10 past 9 at the moment, so we've got 20 minutes of build time. But there you go, that's in place looking like that. I want to bring over this one here because we're going to be putting this into place, and as you can see we do have notches here that need to be lined up to the notches there. So put this in, you know you've done it because it was going to fit flush in there like that. And I'm holding that in with a CM screw, but that CM screw is going to have a washer around it, and I've got the washer here, so I'll put that in first, then put the CM screw on this side and screw that in. So now on this back section here, make sure that's tight. We have got the 2 wheels into position. As you can see, they turn perfectly. All I need to do is just put the hubcap in on that side and we're done. So that brings us to now stage 8, looking just like this. Let's get that open. It's interesting, in the instructions this orange section is green. I don't quite know why that is. Be careful, look, static was holding this part on. The first thing I do is I've got 3 parts to put together here. So I've got this part here, which basically we're putting this into this section just like that. And then I've got this part which I said was blighted by static just going over the top of this in here. And I'm holding that in with AP screws. Again, I've kept these in the bag because there's so many of them. I've got this ring to put on which goes on around the lip here, but there is a notch you can probably just see here, so I'm just going to make sure that that fits into the notch like that, so it should be fitting flush in there. And then on the other side of the notch we've got the other side of this ring, so again I'm lining up the notches on this side as well, so that looks like that. And we're going to be putting this into this part of the engine. We're now starting to build the engine. This looks really good. So this is actually going to be going this way up through here, so it's sitting flush on there. And if I turn this upside down, you can see that I've got a place to screw this in just down there, and that's a BM screw. That's perfect, I love it. And that is also all there is to do in that stage. So stage 9, starting to get to the little detail parts now. Let's get these open. You just knew this build was going to have these. Looks like we're going to be creating the distributor. But first off, first thing I want to do though is take this section here. It's got a little line down that says number 1, I think. Just checking the other side. Don't know. Looks like a number 1. I'm going to be putting the right hand side exhaust on here, and it's basically going to be going in here just like that. But to hold it in, we're going to be putting an AP screw just through this side. It's quite hard to get that started there, I have to say. But once it's in, it should look like that. I'm going to do the same on the other side. It's a little bit easier on that side. I don't know why that is. So that's those 2 created. Now we're going to be putting the tops into the distributor. Now I'm just going to see how tight they are in here. I don't think they're very tight, so I am going to glue mine in. Now, it doesn't tell us to do that, but I'm doing it. So I'm just putting a touch of glue on the base, putting these into the hole. So I'll do that for all of these. So they're all in looking like that. I do have one spare. I don't know if they deliberately give us a spare. I don't want to lose it, so I've put that in with my QM screws. Okay, we're going to be putting this into place now. So the way these goes, I'm going to take the one that's just got the number 1 on it, and that's going to be going through here like this. This is how this is sitting in. Just going to work it into position like that. It's going to enable me to put a screw down here to hold that in, and that's a BM screw. Perfect. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So through here, into position, held in with a BM screw. And now I'm going to want to put the distributor into position, which is just going to be going on top of this section here. Again, I'm just going to see how tight this is. There you go. That really did take some pushing to get that in there. That's not moving now though, so the distributor's now mounted. Now the last thing to mount is this solenoid here. I think that's what this is, which is just going to go on top here. It's going to be held in with GM screws. As a matter of fact, it's 2 different screws. GM in this side, DP in this side. And that's because one side's going into the metal, but the other side's going into plastic. And that is in there solidly. Now, I don't think, looking at the time, I'm going to have time to work on stage 10, which is where we get up to. But hopefully that gives you an idea of what you can get achieved in exactly 1 hour. And we certainly have gone quite far on that at the moment. Absolutely loving this build. Once again, thanks to Mike Lane for providing this for me to build on the channel, and I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.